this one, we're going to go ahead and break down Drake's Search and Rescue. Tempo for this one is 142 beats per minute. It is produced by BNYX, SADPONY, Wesley, Curtis, 40, Beautiful Man, and Lil Yachty. To kick things off, let's go and start from the top. So we have that main piano that sort of loops itself for the entire track. For that sound, I use Logic's Yamaha Grand Piano, and I really just only applied a little bit of EQ to it just to take out some of the top end and some of the low end as well to give it sort of that dark, wishy-washy 40 type of sound. And then I used an instance of Wavy just to use the reverb in that plugin, just because it sounded close to the reverb used in the original track. So without that EQ and without that plugin, it sounds like that. With the EQ, dark. Layered underneath that, there's this texture type of sound that was going on. That texture is straight from the 2023 kit, the Ambience update back in February. Just a texture to layer up that piano as heard in the original track and together. And of course, we get this vocal thing happening here. Moving along, we get this spooky, eerie string sound. For that sound, I'm using a preset in Logic. It can be found under synthesizers, strings, and the preset is called Dusty Strings. So together with the piano and the ambience texture. So for this section right here, we get the bass. For that, I'm using Logic's ES1 synthesizer. I started off with the deep bass preset, but that can be found under synth bass, deep bass, but decided that a triangle oscillator will give you more of that buzzy tone that you need. So I really just switched it from that to that on this preset, and alone without the effects sounds like this. Then I add in a little bit of EQ just to take out some of that top end and a little bit of the low end rumble. Just cleans it up a bit. And then brought in Logic's Fat Effects just to give it a little bit more saturation with the soft saturation distortion right over here. Then of course we got some drums. So that rim shot on the threes and the two-step pattern. New sound we get here is this Tootsie Slide lead. Now that preset is from a preset kit that I put together, the Toronto Views preset kit. The preset is called Lead Tootsie Slide. It's pretty much the lead from Drake's Tootsie Slide. Same sound was used in this track right here, except a little bit more reverb on it. So without the reverb, it's a little dry. With the reverb, gives it a little bit more space, but other than that, pretty much the lead from Drake's Tootsie Slide. And that is panned over to the right as heard in the original track. So all together. Then we get an open hat. Moving along in the track, pretty much the same things play out, except we get a kick pattern right here. The kick pattern is used very sparingly throughout the pattern, which is pretty much par for the course for a lot of Drake beats. And then moving along into the section where the piano switches up, right over here. So to get that piano, I rendered down this MIDI pattern right over here. Bounce that in place to get an audio, and then pitch that down one full octave, and you get this. Now, the reason why I pointed out, because if you just pitch down the MIDI, it's not going to give you that same texture and tone. So listen to the difference between these two pianos. This is the MIDI, this is the audio pitched down by 1 octave. Completely different tone, nothing else is touched. So sometimes it's a good idea just to bounce down your MIDI and pitch it up or down the way you like it, because it's going to give you this cool, fuller, different tone to it. And then the bass right here also gets switched up. Instead of getting pitched down, it gets pitched up. So piano down, bass up. Same sound, just pitched up 1 full octave. So that plays out for several bars, and then we go into the infamous Kim K sample section. Now, I don't have that Kim K sample in here, but the I didn't come this far to come this far sample. But this is the part where things sort of switch up in the beat. So we still have that audio pitch down 1 full octave piano, and we also still have that same ambience texture we had at the top of the track. Now we're adding in 2 things, this new 808 right here. Same pattern as the bass, just now an 808. And then I added in another texture from the 2023 Ambience Texture Kit, the City Nights. It just adds a little bit more to this right here. Just trying to match what was in the track originally. This sounded pretty close. So all together, you know, I didn't come this far to come this far. And then we move on into where the beat sort of goes into a slight switch up, and it sounds like this. So really what's added here is a set of strings. Oops, instead of muting, I want to solo that. So I use 2 strings to get that sound. One is the string ensemble legato. It can be found under Legacy, Logic, Orchestral, Strings, String Ensemble Legato. And I also used an instance of Logic's Mellotron. Use the strings in that. Let's go and solo that out. Just to give it like a scratchy vibe on top. Very subtle, but makes a difference. And added in a bunch of reverb to it. And then moving along, we go into that pattern where the drums switch up. So really all that's added in this section right here is this, 2 things right here. So this sound right over here, this sort of bell type of thing, is actually the piano rendered down to audio and then pitched up 1 full octave. If you go ahead and do that to MIDI, you're not going to get the same bell texture. Then we get this piano right here. It's the same piano, but flipped and reversed just to give it that mid-range tone that we needed. And for the EQ on that is this right here, very mid-rangey. And together for the melody, sounds like this. Ambience. And then we get the drums. So we're using the same hi-hat that we did in the other sections. This one right here. But we brought in a new drum kit. It's a Logic drum kit. It is called Crate Digger. You can find it underneath Electronic Drum Kit, Crate Digger. And I just used the kick, the rim, and the hi-hat from this kit, as well as the open hat. It sounds like this. It's just more live, organic sounding sounds that they put into the track and all together. And then for this section, they put in the Mac OS notification bell. And every time I listened to the track, I thought I was getting a notification. so I had to put that in there. And that's pretty much it. And then just the sounds come in and out like this Tootsie Slide lead. That's pretty much the beat right there. So let's go ahead and take a listen to it from top to bottom. A truncated version of the mix remade in Logic Pro, Drake's Search and Rescue. Let's go. So that's a remake right there, Drake's Search and Rescue remade in Logic Pro. For you Logic users out there, I'm going to go ahead and save this entire session for you, place it as a downloadable link below this video. If you don't use Logic, I got your back. I'm going to go ahead and export all the MIDI stems, audio stem, and of course include the drum kit that you heard in this remake. You can find that entire playback down below the like button as well. But other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do want to chat or have any questions, go ahead and talk in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Hope you learned something new. We'll catch you on the next one. Later.